Hey folks, Dr. Gerstmar from Aspire Natural Health. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you happen to be listening to this, I hope you're having a great day. All right, so we are in the escalation of the whole coronavirus thing. It feels for a lot of us like in the past couple of days, things have escalated dramatically. Seattle is one of the hot spots here for the coronavirus, so we are almost on lockdown. Now, when big, scary, life-altering things come into our lives, there are three typical reactions or three categories of reactions, ways in which we can respond to these things. Whether it's the coronavirus, whether it's being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease or going into a flare or having life-changing digestive issues, right? Whenever we're confronted with something that is big and scary and life-altering, there tends to be three reactions that we can have, and we tend to default to two of those reactions. So let's talk about it today. Now, the first reaction when we're confronted with anything like this is simply fear. Now, it's important to understand that fear is normal and it's natural and it is a primal survival mechanism. You know, if there were a tiger in the bushes over there, it would trigger our fight or flight reaction. We're either going to run screaming from the tiger or we're going to, grab a rock and try to beat it off and prevent it from eating us. Now, this, again, it's a normal and natural reaction. So if we look at social media and the news and all the rest of it, there is a ton of fear out there. Now, again, fear is normal and natural, but it doesn't mean that it's very effective. Again, if there is a tiger over there, it is probably pretty effective to run away or worst case scenario, try to fight it off. But of course, the coronavirus, a diagnosis of autoimmunity or something more serious or anything else that's big and scary in our lives, running away from it or trying to hit it with a rock is not an effective strategy. Now, when we stay stuck in fear, a couple things happen. A, it's bad for our bodies. The physiologic stress response that happens is not a good place to live in. Mentally and emotionally, that place of anxiety is also not a good place to live in. And we tend to make very short-term and ultimately ineffective decisions. So, when confronted with all of this, it is completely normal and natural to go to a place of fear, and that is okay. As I tell my kids all the time, it is okay to feel your feelings. It is okay to feel your feelings. So if you're freaked out, panicked, anxious, it's okay. Recognize that it's okay to feel that way. It's normal and natural to feel that way, and being in that place is neither healthy, neither good for our well-being, and neither good for making effective choices, what to do about it. So we need to feel our feelings and then work to move out of that place. Now, the second bucket of reactions when we're confronted with big issues like this is denial. Stick our head in the sand, ignore it. And you see plenty of this as well. People saying, oh, this is no big deal. It's nothing. The flu is much worse. Obesity is much worse. All these other issues are much worse. People are making a big deal out of nothing. And why do we have to do anything? And I'm just going to go on and live my life normally with no changes. Now, this is very common as well. When we're confronted with something big and scary, it's normal to just try to ignore it. We see this all the time, people ignoring what become increasingly serious digestive and autoimmune issues. Oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, when it's not. Now, again, denial is not an effective strategy. In the short term, obviously, it makes us feel better because we ignore the problem and just focus on getting on with our lives. It is not an effective long-term strategy for us because fear is going to force us into making short-term, very immediate decisions that may possibly make sense in the short term, but usually come back to bite us and are very ineffective. Denial is going to have us making no choices, no reactions, no changes at all. So there are two normal and natural responses to being faced with big and scary things. The first is fear. The second is denial. Again, it is okay to be in either place, but if we want to make long-term effective choices, we need to move into that third bucket, which is simply a calm state from which to make long-term and effective choices. So, we're faced with all this. We can go into fear. Oh my gosh, we're all going to die. The economy is going to be horrible. How are we ever going to manage? We can go into denial. Everything is perfectly fine. There's no issues going on. Or we can move through either of those two places that we find ourselves in to a calm and focused state from which we can take effective action. So it is not necessarily easy to move out of those states, and we have to take responsibility for the things that we can change and actively manage our state. Now, as part of that, we are advising many people that we're working with to limit their news and social media consumption. Of course, there is a balance here. We don't want to be fully ignorant of what's going on, but once we have an idea of the situation, we don't need to be taking in more negative or toxic messaging. After all, news, unfortunately, is all about grabbing eyeballs, and so that means scaring people. And social media, unfortunately, tends to devolve into either fear-mongering or denialism, either of those two buckets that we're not looking for. Once we have a fair idea of the situation, what's going on, it needs to turn to calmly evaluating our options and making a decision. So again, whether it's coronavirus or whether it's a scary diagnosis, autoimmunity, or other serious digestive issues, we need to move beyond fear. We need to move beyond denial, and we need to come to a place of calm and effective action. So one step of doing that is limiting negative media consumption. So again, if that's digestive issues or autoimmunity, that means watching our consulting Dr. Google, because everything is the worst possible thing. That can mean limiting talking to friends or family if they are very negative. And, if your doctor that you're working with is completely negative, no, there's nothing you can do, this is all very terrible, it may mean consulting with another health professional who can help you move out of fear and denial towards making effective action. All right, so folks, that is where we're at. This coronavirus thing is very likely to continue for quite a while. Unfortunately, experts are telling us it is likely to be quite serious. Now, that is the realistic approach. We don't need or want to devolve into a fear, anxiety state or into a denial state. Instead, we want to recognize that and look to take effective action. After all, the only way we can move forward, the only way we can stay healthy, we can stay happy, and we can move towards the life that we want to live is by taking effective action. We've talked about a couple of steps today, primarily limiting negative media consumption, feeling our feelings, and engaging in things like meditation or consulting with people to help move us into a calm state where we can take effective action. All right, that is it for me today. Listen, if you'd like to join a community of people who are not engaged in fear mongering, who are not engaged in denial, but are engaged in supportive action with each other, then I invite you to come join the ANH Academy. That is the ANH Academy. That stands for Aspire Natural Health Academy. It is our private and exclusive Facebook group. All you need to do is go to Facebook, type in ANH Academy, answer 3 super quick, super easy questions, and you can join us there today, as long as you're willing to be supportive of other people in their health journeys, not engage in fear or denialism. So what you need to do, go to Facebook, type in ANH Academy, and join us today. All right, folks, that is it for me today. Until next time, take care.